Well, salutations, fellow vidiots. Welcome to the inaugural Swoop special and pilot episode of a brand new series here at Drunken Master Studios, and that's that Full Moon Madness, baby. So as a young lad and a blossoming horror fan, naturally there were several studios that I ended up gravitating towards because I knew that they were like standbys as far as providing new horror gems for me to check out. And if I'm focusing specifically on those video store days of my youth, no studio stands out more than Full Moon. On account of their distribution deal with Paramount, you could not fucking escape these tapes back in the day. Whether you were hitting up a Blockbuster or Hollywood Video or your local mom and pop shop, they always had a decent spread of Full Moon to choose from, and you could always look forward to new stuff because I feel like they did these motherfuckers at a rate of about 3 or 4 a year, sometimes more. So it goes without saying I have a lot of memories of renting Full Moon tapes as a kid. I have a lot of nostalgia for the studio and for Charlie Band specifically, and a lot to thank them for. I mean, if it wasn't for the Video Zone segments at the end of most of those tapes, I probably wouldn't have developed an interest in like behind the scenes stuff and special effects as early as I did. So they were instrumental in helping me at an early age appreciate movies on a deeper level than just whatever was coming through the screen during the runtime of the son of a bitch. And I'll always be grateful for that shit. So recently, with my spat of collecting like B movies and specifically like regional and director specific stuff and studio specific stuff with that Trauma Hall, it got me thinking, you know, I can't leave out the biggest, baddest one of them all, and that's that Full Moon dank, baby. So I went ahead and decided to, you know, order direct from Full Moon a couple of hefty hauls of cheesy goodness. We're going to be taking a look at the first of those right now. Now, all of these were purchased straight from FullMoonDirect.com, where you can buy movies, merch, and much, much more. Their prices are pretty damn standardized and reasonable at that. It is $7.95 for a standard DVD release of something. It is, I believe, $9.95 for their digitally remastered releases, and then it kind of varies when it comes to the Blu-ray stuff. Either way, though, like I said, very reasonable, and it all goes straight to the studio to help them with future projects and re-releases of older ones, so I'm happy to fucking do it. We're going to try to bang through this real quick because we got a fair amount of trailers that I'd like to show you, but first up we got Arcade. This is from 92 or 93, I think. It was directed by Albert Pyun, who also did Doll Man. You got old Peter Billingsley, aka Ralphie from A Christmas Story, up in there saying fuck instead of fudge. You got young Seth Green playing young Seth Green. And you got Megan Ward from Crash and Burn playing a high school student about 6 years too late. It's basically just Tron with a horror slant and a slappin' 90s alt-rock soundtrack. They actually had to redo all of the computer graphics for it at one point because it was so much like Tron, Disney threatened to sue, and they knew they would lose, so they actually had Peter Billingsley help them rework all of the special effects, I guess. Definitely not a rental classic. It was one that I maybe saw back in the day, but I for sure saw some scenes from it in Video Zones and whatnot, because in addition to the behind the scenes and like special effects stuff, it was also sort of like a video magazine, so they would show you other Full Moon stuff, upcoming projects, yada yada. Anyway, this is one that I thought I hadn't rented as a kid, or I possibly hadn't, but it turned out that I had, and I definitely used to rent the sequel, or the spin-off from this movie, Invisible, The Chronicles of Benjamin Knight, all the fucking time. But as you can see, we got Mandroid. It's basically just your mad scientist versus your good scientist versus the government, you know, sci-fi type action flick. Essentially, you know, they have this Mandroid unit that they kind of use to help them move around, this super fuel they've created by synthesizing these mushrooms or something like that. The one scientist wants to use it for benevolent purposes to help mankind. The other scientist wants to use it to sell it as a weapon. He ends up getting disfigured and just going batshit fucking insane. It leads to a lot of gunfire and a lot of fucking cheesy, awesome action. Cannot go wrong with some Mandroid. It was such a treat putting that in, thinking I maybe hadn't seen it, and then having all of those memories come rushing back, you know. This one, I damn sure knew I was familiar with. It's the original Cowboys vs. Aliens flick, and a movie I rented so often as a kid that it eventually drove my parents up the fucking wall, and that is Oblivion. It was actually written by Peter David of Incredible Hulk fame. His run on the comic book is still legendary to this day, for good reason, and I think this movie is a goddamn gem. If you like classic gritty westerns and you like cheesy sci-fi, you're gonna love this shit. I can't recommend it enough. Stop motion scorpions. The review will be coming with this Swoop special, so look forward to that. And then we got the aforementioned Doll Man, starring Tim Thomerson and Jackie Earle Haley. This was directed by Albert Pyun, who also did Arcade. This also will have a review coming out with this Swoop special, so I'm going to let that speak for itself. But this is like top tier flagship Full Moon stuff. If you've not seen it, you need to get out there onto Tubi and watch it immediately. Almost every one of these, actually I think every single one of these is available on Tubi currently, if memory serves. Totally free, check it out, lots of other good stuff on there as well. Including this gem. This was actually, I think I may have mentioned it in the intro, the original test discussion me and my lady shot when we first had the idea for Full Moon Madness 2 years ago. And that will definitely be re-uploaded on the channel, as will be a review for this, once they send me the disc to the actual fucking movie. I don't know if you can see the fine print above the logo on the disc there, but they accidentally sent me the motion picture soundtrack instead of the actual film. Kind of a bummer, and they haven't responded to my emails. Get on that shit, Charlie. I've given you guys a lot of money over the last month, and the least you can do is send me the disc for my $7.95 DVD. I do have it on VHS, so if I really want to watch it, I can. Not the point. I'm really hoping what they'll do to make it up to me is send me the disc for the movie in the case for the soundtrack so that I have that complete as well. Either way, push comes to shove, if I have to, I'll just order a new copy of it. It is only $8. And considering that was the only issue in this order, I can't really complain. At least not too much. I feel I've already complained the appropriate amount, so we're gonna, just move on. You can't have Dollman or Demonic Toys, though, without having Dollman versus Demonic Toys. Tim Thomerson absolutely saves this movie. It's, both of their individual movies are probably better overall than this one is, like, as a crossover. Still a fucking good time, though, and I'm very much looking forward to revisiting it. I'm kind of stuck waiting on that Demonic Toys, though, so that I could do the review for it and versus Dollman at the same time. So probably going to be a slight delay on that. It won't come until, like, our third wave of reviews, I'm guessing, but it will come eventually. Another rental classic from my childhood here, and that is Shrieker. This is one that I don't really ever hear many people talk about when they talk about Full Moon movies, and that's probably because it's not one of the better ones, but I still really enjoy it. It's solid for what it is. Essentially these kids are all squatting in this abandoned hospital while going to college to save on rent. Turns out someone has, used this sort of demonology to summon this creature called the Shrieker. And essentially the gimmick is they've got to hand you like this slip of paper with a symbol on it, and the Shrieker will target you. And the only way to stop that is to give the symbol to someone else, so that it'll kill them instead. Once 5 victims have been killed, the person who summoned the Shrieker then has dominion over it as their servant or whatever, because it requires 5 sacrifices to be loyal. And that's the movie in a nutshell. It runs around slicing and dicing the kids up, teleporting through walls and shit. Definitely one that we will be doing a review for in the future. I did like a demo tape review of it when I was thinking of starting this series back up. The people I showed it to seemed to enjoy it and seemed to look forward to checking the movie out. It's worth looking at. Then we got our first digitally remastered grip in this stack and in this haul. That's that Castle Freak, baby. Jeffrey Combs and Barbara Crampton from Reanimator and From Beyond reunited once again for just a creepy, grisly little creature in a big, dark castle movie. Directed by Stuart Gordon himself. Absolutely fucking love this one. Used to rent the shit out of it. Have revisited it frequently over the years since, and I'm very much looking forward to doing a review on it for you fine folks. I think I actually featured it in a video a couple of years back, back when I used to do the Drunken Master mixtape still, and I would give a random movie recommendation with a trailer. I do have a vivid memory of at least capturing the Castle Freak trailer back in those days. So either way, eventually we're going to bang that out for you guys, and I don't think you will regret it. Castle Freak is a goddamn gem. Even if you rate that against other horror films outside of the Full Moon catalog, it's solid. As is our next series here, it's a goddamn gem, and one of the things Full Moon is definitely most known for outside of Puppet Masters, Trancers, and Evil Bong in terms of their franchises. That's that Subspecies, baby. I went ahead and just grabbed them all. We got that Subspecies 1 20th Anniversary Edition. We got that Bloodstone Subspecies 2, many people's favorite movie in the entire franchise. We got the remastered special edition of Bloodlust Subspecies 3. We got that Subspecies 4 Bloodstorm, the only one in the franchise that doesn't have a Blu-ray release, weirdly, at least as far as I remember. And then we got what many people basically considered Subspecies 5. It is a spin-off of the Subspecies series, done by the same writer and director, Ted Nicolau. Actually, I don't know if he wrote and directed the Subspecies movies, but old Ted did all of them, including this one, and that is Vampire Journals. This one I have the least amount of experience with. I did check it out back in the day, but maybe like once or twice. I was always renting like Bloodstone and Subspecies 3 for some reason, but I'm very much looking forward to taking a trip through all of them again. I have revisited Subspecies since getting these, and man does it still hold up. If I were to have to vote on like my favorite vampire series ever, Subspecies is it, like no question about it. And a couple of those individually are probably still my favorite vampire movies on a singular level that I've ever seen in my life. I mean, Bloodstone is that good. It's not surprising why so many people pick it as their favorite in the series. It very well might be overall the best one. So that concludes our first stack from our first Full Moon Direct Haul. You guys are going to check out the trailer for... yeah, fuck it. We'll throw that doll man out there for you. Prep you up for that review.
On the planet Arcturus, he's the toughest cop around.
That's the Kruger Blast, most powerful hacker in the universe.
That's right, fat boy.
What do you want, asshole?
Nothing.
You're just gonna walk away?
On the planet Earth, he's 13 inches tall.
Oh, fuck!
That's about the size of it.
Can we keep it?
Our homies together. I'm going to war. With who? The fucking doll man. Who else?
Are you in the wrong neighborhood?
Urban fucking renewal.
Doll Man, 13 inches with an attitude.